Campbells comments on location in Kyabram here at Northern Rivers Equine. Kath McIntosh, welcome.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for coming.
We're here today. We're going to have a few announcements. We've got a couple of things happening here with Northern Rivers, but John Coffey to your left is, I had to do me lefts and rights, yes, it was okay. He's been with you for coming up a year, I suppose, would it be?
Yeah, so John joined us in the start of June last year as our very capable and well-known and well-respected bloodstock agent. So that was a big step for us in the stud department for Northern Rivers Equine, and yeah, so that year has gone very quickly and very successfully, and now we're ready to move on to our next chapter in getting our footprint in New Zealand.
We'll get to that in a sec. How have you found it, John? Have you enjoyed the new role?
Yeah, absolutely, and particularly having those two new stallions last year in Tribeca and Poster Boy, yeah, and with the results that we got with them, with both mares breeding up towards 130 mares, yeah, so that was very satisfying.
Yeah, and we've got some good news for that a bit later on in the show as well, with at least one more new stallion to last year's roster anyway. So Kath was looking at me then, she was like, what's he going to say there? Kath, we've also now, I like that, but you've also now embarked on New Zealand, I suppose, is the best way to say it. You've got a New Zealand agent working for Northern Rivers Equine.
Yeah, so this is a big step. You know, last year with John was a big step for us. This is another big step, and I think as equally important for us when we're moving into New Zealand as it was expanding here in Australia is that we had the right person on board to join our team, someone that, you know, will develop the same amount of respect that John has in the industry, and, you know, to continue our brand in a very respectful, highly professional way, and that's what we're trying to achieve. And so after a bit of, you know, doing our due diligence and with a bit of help from some associates in New Zealand, we managed to come across a very well-respected already young man in Cam Kirkwood. So Cam joins us here today as well.
He's on the Zoom link. Firstly, welcome, Cam.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
How is New Zealand today? They say how bad the weather is. When I was over there, it was sensational.
It has its moments. Today was pretty cold and windy, but yeah, it's that time of year though, isn't it?
It is indeed. A little bit of a history for some of the Australians and probably some of the Kiwis that aren't aware of your I suppose background, your background in harness racing and racing in general.
Yeah, so my father's always owned horses, and I've been going to races for as long as I can remember with him, and then got the bug from there as a very early age. Start helping out in stables, getting the hands-on side of things, and then as soon as I left school, got a job at Harness Racing New Zealand. Been there ever since, and absolutely love it.
Yep.
I've worked for New Zealand Bloodstock as well, helping them out as bid spotters in the sales, and now this has come along, and I'm excited to learn a bit more and get another string to the bow.
Is the breeding always been something you've been keen on?
Absolutely, yeah. I've raced a few and bred a few, but ultimately breeding is where I enjoy it most, because at that time of life, everything's all potential. You don't know what you've got.
Yeah, it's a different, I suppose, a different world. Myself and John were just recently over there for the weanling sale, and the way the New Zealanders do things over there, it's very different, isn't it? And even NZB, like working with an organiser like Asian like that, you'd learn so much.
You do. There's a huge amount of experience and knowledge through very different people that you come across. So if you can pick up a little bit from everyone, it all helps down the track. And
you've got a great role with NZB as well. New Zealand Harness Racing. Sorry, the wrong name. There's too many, what are those words called? Anagrams or whatever they are, but there was too many of those. But yeah, you've got a position with New Zealand Harness Racing now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm there in the registration and racing department. So I've got a nice range in my role there.
Very good. So Cameron's role for you and the future with Cameron, and I suppose Northern Rivers' future in New Zealand.
Yeah, so I think in order to do the job right and to get get out and about and to see all those breeders we need to have someone on the ground there. Last year John and I both would have liked to have gone across, but obviously COVID put a stop to that, and so it's really important that we had someone there on the ground, and in particular to support our new sire that is coming down in Pastor Stephen. So he's an extremely exciting high profile trotting stallion. He's already got the runs on the ground in Europe. He's got a full book at Indiana currently, and that's his first season in America. So he'll be standing with us here in Australia next season, and one of Cav's jobs will be to promote Pastor Stephen in New Zealand for us.
To get him out there. Indiana full book is 150, is it, John, or is it
140 in the States?
140.
Yep.
So
Yep.
so they're good numbers. I've always heard people say they've got full books in America. I wasn't sure what a full book was. He's an exciting stallion. Cam, you must be actually rapt to be that's the first part of your job as a freshman sire. Like you get a new sire to Australasian shores and to go out there and try and promote him.
Absolutely. No, it's very exciting to get a horse of his ability. And he's not only just a full brother to Father Patrick, but he's proven as well. So he's going to fit into our market very well, and very excited to market him and hopefully sell quite a few services to him.
Yeah, John, he is a very well-bred horse, isn't he? And a well-performed horse as well on top of that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, sometimes when you say a stallion's a full brother to another one, they're often the unraced or the lowly performed. But in this case, this guy was a 2-year-old trotter of the year himself. He won over $1 million. So, and he was the genuine article. And that's probably what led Jimmy Tactor, who trained Pastor Stephen, to then, buy Father Patrick when he came along a couple of years later. So.
And the Father Patricks, they're starting to do very well over here as well. So it's going to be a proven line as well that works. Yeah,
and I think it'll be a good outcross to particularly mares, like with Majestic Sun mares, or that Angus Hall line, the Andover Hall line, and all that type of breed. Pastor Stephen bloodlines will just complement them really well. So yeah.
And the Majestic Sons, Cameron, they're going terrific, both as broodmares and as stallions. As racehorses as well over there, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. He's been our leading sire over here for many years, and I expect him to be the leading broodmare sire down the line too. He's got the numbers on the ground, and he's going to cross well with Pastor Stephen. So no, he's done a fantastic job so far, Majestic Sun.
Kath, I'm sure you haven't just employed Cameron just to look after Pastor Stephen. He's going to be doing a fair bit more work than that, is he?
So he'll also be promoting Poster Boy for us in New Zealand. So there will be a few Poster Boy babies on the ground in New Zealand this season. So we did get a handful over there last year, which was pretty good given our limited ability to market him in that space. Of course, we've got over 100 little Poster Boys due to arrive in Australia. So as the fastest son of Sun Beach Somewhere down here is a great option. As a chilled fresh semen option for that Sun Beach Somewhere cross. And
just recently at the yearling sales and even the weanling sales, that Sun Beach Somewhere stallions, it was down by the seaside. Captain Crunch and I forgot the other bloke all of a sudden, but his name's just left me. But they've been very, very well received, and so it's a great starting point for a horse like Poster Boy to be coming along behind all these other horses that are doing a great job.
Oh, absolutely. We've got to have something to, cross with all those Art Major and Better Delight mares out there. And, he's a, superb pedigree. Aston Villa's been Broodmare of the Year. His youngest brother just had his first start the other day. He's a full brother to him, Beach Villa. He had his first start and was, just a tremendous first win. And I think he won by about 16 metres and very impressive. So the whole family, the pedigree, the bloodlines with Aston Villa being all American bred, and all our other offspring that has performed wonderfully, and of course Poster Boy with his 5 Group 1 wins, is going to be a brilliant option for everyone.
From your point of view, Cam, he's a nice enough stallion to be able to promote over there as well, because a lot of the Kiwis would have raced him and seen him race firsthand in all the good races here in Australia.
Absolutely. I think that's where he's got a bit of an advantage too, because as you said, a lot of us would have raced against him or at least seen him race, so we know firsthand exactly how good he was.
Yeah, and from a pedigree point of view, John, poster boy, being out of Aston Villa, like she's just an absolute broodmare gem, and it's just proven. And generally, when they have the bloodlines behind them, that keeps breeding through, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Aston Villa was by Arts Place, and you're just seeing Arts Place pop up in all the group, the top leading stallions now around the world. He's just been an amazing sire. Captain Treacherous is by some beach somewhere out of an Arts Place mare, so poster boy is the Australian equivalent bred down here. So there's no weak links in the pedigree. The horse was just brilliantly gaited from the very first time he set foot on the racetrack. And he had that high speed. Chris Elford drove him most of his races, bar those last 3 or 4 he had when Greg Sugars drove him. But it didn't matter, Chris said it didn't matter whether you led with him, you could sit back in the field. In fact, a couple of those big wins up in Sydney, the Derby and I think the Chariots, he came from well back in the field, but he had that high speed and he could lead, he could do whatever you wanted with the horse, which is just ideal, isn't it? The ideal racehorse.
He was electrifying because the reins were never tight. Like Chris was never really fighting him in any way at all, and he'd just ask him and away he'd go. And I think Greg said the same thing. Basically, he couldn't believe the speed when you said go.
When you just
it was
asked
just there straight away. It didn't
right.
feel like it was there, so it's exciting.
Yeah.
Kath, you would have a lot more things on the go, I would imagine. You're not the sort of person that just sits back and says, "Oh, that was a nice year. We might keep it at that."
Well, I mean, definitely this is embarking into New Zealand like this, and having Cam on board is another big step. So, we just want to get things nailed down and make sure we do them right, and hopefully, the travel bubble will continue to work out good for our, shipping our semen to New Zealand. I mean, last year, I think all the mares that Poster Boy bred it were way down in the South Island, and, they were getting semen, often more than 50 hours after we collected. And we were getting, them in foal. So, hopefully this year with things go a bit smoother. Pastor Stevens' semen is extremely good, so we expect that it should ship really well as well. So, hopefully our time frames can tighten up a little bit more, which makes things easier for everyone to plan and organise.
And I would imagine that's one of the reasons you get Cameron on board, because it's easy enough to say send yourself or John to New Zealand to go and see these people, but you say about down south, and there's no easy way of getting down there. It's about an 8-hour drive, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I'd love to get there myself at some point, and hopefully John will get over there in the next couple of months as well, and they can, perhaps go around together. But it's just nice to have someone that people can talk to and follow up with, and just provide that bit of information and help that they might need. Breeding season's tricky enough, so it's nice to have someone on the ground there that can assist breeders.
I'm hoping leading into the weanling sales I might be over there. I did a bit with the Southern Red guys, and a few of the others down there. Arden Lodge, I'll get into trouble because I can't remember them all, but no, they were all Southern Red, that's right, because that's one big banner, so I don't forget anyone, so it's okay, so because I can get into trouble. But you must enjoy that part of it, Cam, I suppose too, because they also, the bus tours that they have down there towards the yearling season, so it's because they look after you so well when you get down there.
They do, absolutely. They do a great job, and they all look after each other, and it's fantastic, really, what they put in, and what they put in, they do get out. So it's well deserved, every result they get at the sales.
Kath, the recent part to have just finished, I suppose, from Northern Rivers was the yearling sales just recently held through Nutrien, and you had a very, very successful sale. Firstly, you must be wrapped with the results that you got, and I suppose the way that the new sales company came in and went about it.
Yeah, it was great. It just was, enjoyed the whole experience thoroughly. We've been prepping yearlings for a few years now, but now, we had one make 100,000 and two for 95 and 90. So, and managed to sell 12 out of the 15 in the draft. So, extremely happy with the results. Extremely happy with how the horses, turned out and how they behaved down there, and just the atmosphere and the attention to detail that we had from Nutrien was terrific, and I'm looking forward to going back with Nutrien next year and heading up to Sydney and yeah, it'll be, we're just in the process of weaning at the minute, and actually, in fact, just before you arrived, Paul, we're out feeding the weanlings, and it's nice to see them all looking a little bit, started to fluff up a little bit now the cool weather's come in, but they're off to a good start. They're well-grown weanlings, extremely well handled. The girls have been doing a great job in the barn with them, teaching them to load on the float. They're getting taught to wash and everything, knowing that because the sale is just that little bit later in the year, it just makes it much easier to handle the yearlings when they're so big. Yeah,
and they are big, and it was a good sale. We've came with that NZB back round 2, like been over there just recently, seeing how professional NZB are. It's great. I think these sales companies are coming, well, New Zealand Bloodstock aren't coming in, they're already been there, but with Nutrien coming in and just raising a different sort of bar, I suppose, and making it a whole different playing field, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's what everyone's got to strive for in the industry, is to keep improving professionally and raising that bar, and think outside the square and just push things along a bit, because there's a real desire for that out there in the industry participants, and I think we've had a very successful breeding season last year, so looking forward to having all those foals arrive. And we'll also, with my Harness Breeders Victoria hat on, we'll be doing some stuff around there, Breed to Succeed, which will be a little bit different to last year, a bit more contact, and as well as online stuff. So, there's lots of things on the horizon over the next few months before we do kick back into stud season. And, we're looking at having, with the Pastor Stephen edition, we'll have 7 stallions in our roster. So lots of exciting things to do, and we just got to keep, pushing the envelope. I think if you don't strive for perfection and to be the best that you can be, then you only settle for mediocrity, and that's not how I'd like to go.
I do know that. I know that, and I'm sure the bloke on the left knows that, and the gentleman on the computer at the other end, he's going to find that one out very quickly as well. 7 stallions, American Ideal, Lather Up, Malmara, Poster Boy, Yankee Rockstar, Pastor Stephen,
Tribeca.
Tribeca. Yeah. Thank you very much. I was just trying to. I didn't do bad. Sorry, Rob Watson. I was trying to remember them all. It's a good roster of horses, and a good, especially now you've got the trotter there, which I'm very happy for you to do that too. But it's a good roster that you've got. You have to be pinching yourself because you haven't been here that long, have you?
No, I mean, the stallion stuff is certainly, it's grown exponentially. And last year we built the additional 4 yards, of which we filled 3, and I always said that the empty yard was there for my token high-profile trotter when and if one.
They're not token. Trotters aren't tokens.
Oh, no, I didn't mean it like that. But he's the only trotter amongst them, and so that was, he came along, which I'm very thankful for, and obviously we had him as frozen semen last year, so there will be a few Pastor Stephen babies from the frozen semen on the ground in both New Zealand and Australia, but now that he's chilled and here in the flesh, we welcome everyone to come and have a look at him when he arrives, which will be at some point in August. But we'll definitely let everyone know. Welcome to come and have a look at him. He's on by photos and videos. He's a magnificent beast. So, looking forward to having him here. And we've got a really nice range of stallions now. Obviously with Poster Boy and Soho Tribeca, the first of their babies will be arriving. Yankee Rockstar, we'll have the first of his horses at the races this year. We've got brilliant reports on those for the type and the temperament.
They were lovely types at yearling sales, weren't they? And they sold quite well.
They did. Look, they sold for close to 10 times their service fee, which is pretty good return on investment for those breeders. And we've got a Lather Up, so we'll have the first of his babies arriving too, which will be exciting. And of course, American Ideal, who just keeps on showing them all how to do that. This is just a champion stallion, so we'll continue on with him. And then Malmara will also be having his second crop of foals arriving. Yeah. So the first of his to go to the yearling sales next year.
And he is a lovely horse. I tell a lot of people he's not the high profile. He is just a gentleman of a horse, so isn't he? He's lovely to work with. I've done some video work with him as well.
Yeah, we've actually got some Malmara babies in New Zealand.
Right.
Yeah, from his first crop.
They'll
be they're just it's only a handful, but they're just weanlings now.
That might be Cam's job to get some videos for me, so as I can put some footage out there. Was there anything else we wanted to discuss today? Have I covered off on everything? Because I sometimes forget things, you know that. So
no, I think that's great. We're excited for the next few months ahead, and everyone in New Zealand, give Cam a call or send him an email, get in touch with us or with him, and we'll help you in any way that we can.
And also with Woodlands through American Ideal and Lather Up as well. That's what they can book them through the girls in the office there with Woodlands Direct.
Yeah,
Yep.
Woodlands, but we'll always pass the message on. So if you just let us know, and
And I'm sure if they see Cam will pass the message on if it's for those anyway. So yeah, by all means do that. Cam, thank you very much. It's getting very dark out there. That 2 hours makes a big difference, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, no, 5 to 6 over here. It's this time of year. It does get pretty dark pretty early.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us, mate, and welcome to the Northern Rivers Equine family. It's a good family. There is one matriarch, though. I will promise you that much. And no one will argue with me. Okay.
No, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for joining me.
thanks, Paul.
Okay, thank you.